Hello, my friends. Today there is more and more video evidence confirming that the Ukrainian forces have taken full control of Sudzha and are continuing to advance further. The gray zone is expanded by about 10 kilometers on each side. Now we are waiting for confirmation to see if the Ukrainian forces can secure their positions there. Although Ukrainian forces soldier has already shown that they are breaking through towards the town of Lgov.
Надіюсь, це відео мама не побачить. Я мамі обіцяв, що я недалеко. Слава Україні!
This town is 33 kilometers from the front line. Previously, Russians mentioned the possibility of the Ukrainian forces breaking through to Lgov and then heading toward the Kursk nuclear power plant. And judging by this video, that seems to be the case. For now, it most likely reconnaissance groups. Overall, we are waiting for more good news. But there is also bad news. In Kursk, additional Russian army units are being deployed to stabilize the situation on the Kursk front. Additional forces and means are being delivered to the Kursk region to strengthen troops groupings and form reserves, reported the Minister of Defense. Naturally, with each passing day, more and more reserves are arriving to defend the territory, making it increasingly difficult to advance further. However, in order to strike Russian bases directly on Russian territory, Zelensky is asking partners to allow the use of long-range weapons deeper inside Russia, not just in border areas. So we'll see how events unfold, but it's already clear that Zelensky is acting in stages, building up forces and capabilities. Today, we can already see that the war has shifted onto Russian soil. Meanwhile, Syrskyi in his report mentioned that the Ukrainian forces now controls about 1,000 square kilometers.
Продовжуємо проведення наступальної операції на території Курської області. На даний час під нашим контролем знаходиться близько 1000 квадратних кілометрів території Російської Федерації. У Верховні військ виконують поставлені завдання, бої йдуть фактично по всьому фронту, ситуація знаходиться під нашим контролем.
Дякую.
This is a significant achievement. And yesterday, a Republican senator in Kyiv expressed support for the operation in the Kursk region.
2,5 роки війни ви продовжуєте стояти на своїх позиціях та ще й зайшли в Росію. Ми пишаємося вашим керівництвом, і ви демонструєте багато чого, що я ніколи не бачив. Казали, що Київ паде за 3 дні. Ну, бачите, як обернулося. То всі вони помилялися. І от через стільки місяців ваші люди страждають, є стійкість, але ви вже на території Росії. Це сміливо і чудово. Я радий, що ви нам про це не сказали, не попередили, натомість це зробили. І тепер росіяни вже платять ціну, тож це правильно. І сподіваюся, в 24-му році ви отримаєте більше військової допомоги від Конгресу. Матимемо нового президента на наступний рік. І, звичайно, ми чудово розуміємо, щоб Україна процвітала це в інтересах Сполучених Штатів і Конгресу.
Meanwhile, Russian experts continue to puzzle over the long-term purpose of this operation for Ukraine.
В конце августа, в начале сентября, я думаю, что будет еще более крупномасштабная наступательная операция со стороны Украины. Не исключено, что это будет на юге. Опять же будут пытаться перерезать сухопутный коридор к Крыму. Возможно, часть этого наступления в том числе уйдет в сторону Запорожской атомной электростанции, потому что перекрытие сухопутного коридора в Крым вместе с массированным ударом самолетов F-16 по Крымскому мосту, это вот тот образ победы, который Белый дом сможет продать избирателям. Они будут стремиться к этому. И сейчас Курская область должна вытянуть на себя часть наших резервов, которых еще нет на фронте, которые мы не сможем потом резко перебросить на Запорожскую или там Херсонскую область. Поэтому нужно, ну, скажем так, я стараюсь здесь, чтобы не было таких слишком у нас легких позиций, что мы сейчас их выдавим, действительно. И задачу они себе как раз ставили вот на какой-то небольшой короткий период. Возможно, они сами начнут отходить, если мы не успеем захлопнуть бутылочное горлышко, а риски такие есть, что мы их возьмем там в окружение.
But on the Ukrainian front, things are still far from simple. Let's start with the Pokrovsk direction. Here, unfortunately, there have been significant territorial losses again, despite reports that Russian forces are shifting troops from the Pokrovsk direction to Kursk. They are still making gains here. The number of attacks isn't decreasing, with around 30 assaults recorded in the past 24 hours. After yesterday's advances, Russian troops are not stopping and are attempting to push further. The exact locations are not being disclosed by Ukrainian fighters at the moment, so we'll have to wait for updates. Following the Russian advance to Novohorodivka, battles have now broken out on the outskirts of the area. To prevent Ukrainian forces from cutting off this section of the front, the Russian forces are launching aggressive attacks on Mykolaiivka, Zhelane, Orlivka, and also Hrodivka, aiming to expand their territory. The Russian Minister of Defense has also announced full control over the village of Lysychne, which has been in the red zone for several days. Russian forces are also continuing attempts to reach the highway, though they had less success there. Fighting is ongoing for Vozdvizhenka, Novoalexandrivka, and Kalynove. Heavy shelling continues unabated. In the Toretsk direction, Russian forces are also gradually advancing, assaulting Druzhba and pushing from Zalizne toward Toretsk. Intense fighting for New York remains ongoing. In the Chasiv Yar direction, the situation is also challenging. The Russians are trying to regain lost positions near Kalynivka, assaulting Zhovtnevy microdistrict, and attempting to fully capture Ivanivske. The battle for this village has been ongoing for several months, and the situation remains unchanged. In the Siversk direction, fighting continues for Verkhnyokamensky, Spirne, Ivanodarivka, and Vyemka. Despite the ongoing shelling, Russian forces haven't achieved any significant success in this area. In the Kreminna direction, battles are ongoing for Nevske, Terny, and the Serebryanka forestry. However, Russian forces are facing a complete failure here. The Ukrainian forces successfully repel all attacks daily, and the front line has remained largely unchanged for 6 months. In the Svatove direction, the Russians are once again attempting to assault Berestove, but the Ukrainian forces are holding their ground and repelling all attacks. However, further south, the battle for the village of Makiyivka continues with no significant changes in the front line over the past 24 hours. In the Kupiansk direction, Russian forces continue shelling, with attacks reported only in the areas of Glushkivka and Pishane. After recent breakthroughs, they are trying to reach a water barrier to consolidate their gains. However, the Ukrainian forces continue to repel all advances, and the front line remains unchanged over the past 24 hours. In the Kharkiv direction, there is hope that the Ukrainian forces might push the Russians further back from Vovchansk. Periodic counterattacks are taking place, and with some Russian reserves redeployed to defend the Belgorod and Kursk regions borders, there may be an opportunity to improve the situation around Vovchansk. However, there have been no significant changes in the past day. In the Kurakhove direction, after a large number of attacks, the Russians have started regrouping and are continuing to shell the area. Minimal attacks have been reported only on the village of Kostiantynivka. However, they haven't achieved significant success, and the front line remains unchanged over the past day. In the Vuhledar direction, the Russians persist in their attacks on the village of Vodane and attempting to break through the fields towards their settlement of Rivnopil. Their goal is to create a summer encirclement to Velika Novosilka. From the eastern part, they have already extended the front line to the city itself, and now they are trying to do the same here. However, the Ukrainian forces are doing everything they can to hold the defense, and there have been no changes in the past 24 hours. In the Zaporizhzhia direction, the Russians are making breakthroughs near Novoprokopka and Novodanilivka while continuing to shell the entire front line. However, they haven't achieved new successes, and the front line remains unchanged over the past day. In the Kherson direction, the Russians continue shelling, but without any offensive actions. They're actively using aviation, FPV drones, and occasional artillery to strike the right bank of the Dnipro River. The situation remains difficult, but no new advances on the right bank have been recorded. And Kirby also commented on Putin's statement regarding the invasion of the Kursk region. Kirby on the Ukrainian armed forces operation in the Kursk region. If Putin doesn't like it, he should get out of Ukraine and stop the war. The White House representative called the claims by Russian officials that the operation in the Kursk region is being coordinated by the West Putin's propaganda. He also reminded that it was Russia that invaded Ukraine, and Ukraine is defending itself against Russian aggression. The only ones at war in Ukraine are the Russians themselves. They are the ones invading Ukraine, while Ukraine is defending itself. This is Russia's war against Ukraine, nothing more, nothing less, and it has been that way from the start, said the White House advisor. And that's all from me. So please, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye-bye.